Welcome to the introductory lecture in the course TBMT33, which is a project course, a bachelor's project course in systems biology. And in this first little video, we were just going to have a look at this course as a whole at a glance, so just at the overall outline. And as before, and as in all other videos, this is the part of the teaching material of ISP Group. It's free to use for anybody who wants, as long as they say where it's from. And this is part of the CDIO concept, which I will explain soon. And I will also explain this figure here, which is the project course at a glance. And we are now in the very, very beginning. So let's jump right into it. So CDIO, it's a concept that stands for conceive, design, implement and operate. So you conceive of an idea, you design how to actually go about carrying out this idea, and then you implement your plan. And then once you have implemented your plan, so you have whatever device or machinery or model or whatever it is that you wanted to create, then you can operate it, then you can use it. So the letters comes from the typical workflow of a project, but it's also an educational concept. And which Linköping University, where this course is held, adopted quite early, but it's also adopted by many other universities throughout the world. And it's the sort of short story is that it takes a bigger, more expanded view of education to not only teach the basic skills like math and chemistry and biochemistry and cell biology and engineering and so on. It also want to teach what it's actually going to be like to work after you're finished with your education, and to focus equally much on these things and how to use all the basic knowledge that you have in more skills. So it's other skills than the pure topics, and some of these other skills has to do with personal communication, how to interact when working in groups, how to keep deadlines, how to solve problems, how to do all the things that has to do with real life and with real working situations. And this whole philosophy and lots of material about this is available here on this homepage. And while CDIO is the general philosophy behind, LIPS is something that we will use in this course to some extent, and it's a sort of specific project model within CDIO. So CDIO is just a general philosophy, but LIPS is a specific way how to actually implement this in practice. And it has been developed at Linköping University, and this is specific for Linköping University, in collaboration with various companies like Saab and Volvo and Ericsson. And basically they have tried to extract what is the essence, what are the common denominators, what are the typical documents that you use to guide a project, that are delivered in the various phases of a project. So these documents that are a part of the LIPS process, or the LIPS documents, they are there to help to plan and monitor and evaluate the progress of the project and the results in the project. Did you do what you promised? Where are you? Are you behind schedule? Are you on schedule? And the bigger the company, the more important these kind of documents become, because it's very hard to keep track of 20,000 employees or something like this. So then you need these kind of documents. And here I should say that while we are somehow being inspired by the LIPS protocol. We use a simplified version. And at LISAM, you can download the templates of the files that we are actually using. But if you want to find more of the original LIPS format, then you should go to this homepage here. Okay, so how is a project actually carried out? What are the different phases? What are the different steps? Well, right now we are in the very beginning, so now we are before the project actually starts. And that goes on for a couple of weeks actually, when you're sort of deciding what to do in the project. And then you carry out with the project, which is the majority of the time. And then after that, there is basically delivery of the project to the various people that need to know about it. And if you outline the course dynamics in a graph, it would probably look something like this. And here the axes are time in this direction, so as the project goes by, and then level of details. How much are you into the specific details of a specific little sub-problem, and the implementation in MATLAB, a for loop is not doing what it should do, or something like this. And the more detailed, the more you go down. So here in the beginning of the project, you're given a 1-page or 2-page summary of the entire project. What is the basic idea that the customer has that he or she wants to get done here? And then basically what happens here in this first phase, in the first couple of weeks, is that you, in communication with the customer, in communication with the expert, and while reading in on the literature, you convert this 1-page summary to 4 documents, which I will go through then in the next video. And these 4 documents, they sort of specify what is going to be done. So here we have the requirement specification and the group contract and the time plan, and also the first version of the report. So these 4 things should be handed in at a particular time, a couple of weeks into the project. And in connection to that, shortly after that, you also have the first presentation, where you present also for the other groups what you're supposed to do. And after that, the project starts. And then every week you will meet your supervisor, and you will basically follow the plan that you already outlined here. Every week you will say how many hours you spend, and you will measure your progress in comparison to the requirement specification, and you will produce various types of results, various types of plots and results. And these eventually will go from a sense of increased frustration that you are just doing details and details and details, and here it's easy to lose yourself and lose the big picture as you increase the number of details. Eventually this will turn, and this is about when we have the midterm presentation. And the midterm presentation is also followed by a hand-in. So then you are handing in a second version of the report. So there is both an oral presentation, and there is a new written document, which is an update of the report that you handed in the first version here. And if it's applicable, you also update the requirement specification. So you sort of see, are you behind, or are the things that need to be changed? And this you can actually do at any point. Right. And then you are hopefully starting to get more and more results in as time goes by here, and then at some point you're sort of finished with the actual project, with the work in the project, and you say, now this is it, now the hours are up, and now the time is up. So then you go to the deliveries, and then there are again 4 documents, 4 new type of documents that you hand in here in the beginning of the end. You hand in the final version of the report. And then you also do a poster, and you do an opposition and a reflection document, and all of these things are handed in connection to the customer meeting, and this customer meeting is only for the small group, and then this leads After these things have been discussed and so on for some time, you go on and you also have a final presentation for all the others, and this will actually be open for people outside the course as well. And at that final presentation, you will have an opponent, which is another student working on another project that will comment and scrutinize your work, and you will also do that on another project. And you will do that both orally at the presentation and in writing in connection to the presentation. And here the second thing, which is both oral and a written thing, is that you have a big poster, a big piece of paper that you have the project summarized in. And then a key thing here and a key thing to start to think about already now is, can you summarize this entire project in one sentence? So what did you end up in? What do you know now that you didn't know before the project? So here you are given one page, you go into details, and then you end up in something that is actually even simpler than what you had. You end up in a one sentence summary. And when all of this is done, then you also hand in the reflection document. So these are all the components, and all of these things here that have been described here on this slide are the mandatory key steps, and all of these are mandatory. So you need to participate in all these. You need to contribute to all these steps. But there is nothing apart from the things that are here that are mandatory. So everything else is just support for you. Okay, so that's it for this little overview.